Welcome to The Lounge, the Her Lounge that is, where we share laughter, life experiences, and heart-to-heart dialogue. I am Lynn.
I'm Juna.
I'm Coletta.
I'm Queasy, and we are
your four best new girlfriends.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Thursday.
Welcome to The Lounge, where we connect with you every Thursday through laughter, life experiences, and heart-to-heart dialogue. Listen, we about to get into some chit-chatting. Well, we ain't got nothing to chew, but we just go chit-chat. We don't have nothing to chew, babe. I'm sorry. I had forgot. But we've been getting into some chit-chat. It's so funny because I have been talking a lot to people about this very subject, about the power of influence. And I've even posted, I think, a couple of times recently on my social media account about managing your influence. So I'm a little, eager, might I say, for this. All right. Well, you know that Queasy is our resident
Statistician.
So Queasy, go on and shoot us our stats, along with I've learned this too. We cannot assume people know.
Yeah.
You have to talk to every audience as if they know nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there probably is somebody within the audience that don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So what is influence?
Okay. So per Merriam-Webster.com, influence is the power to change or affect someone or something. So it's kind of like influence is power. Okay, so it really
That's
is.
good.
And so the power of influence is the ability to positively impact others by persuading or convincing them to support a cause. It's a key skill for leaders, and it's also important in helping professions, sales, marketing, politics, and law. Okay, so power versus influence. Power is based on positional authority. Okay. While influence is based on relationships. And that makes sense when you really think about it. How influence works. Influence can be used to change how someone thinks, behaves, or develops. It can be apparent through peer pressure, conformity, obedience, persuasion, and socialization. So how do you increase influence? You can build credibility and expertise in your field by staying up to date with industry trends, contributing articles, and participating in expert forums. Okay, so what is the, I want to show the difference again between, because we did just kind of link the fact that influence is power, but power is the capacity to get others to act based on your positional authority. Okay, however, influence is the ability to modify how a person develops, behaves, or thinks based on your relationship and your persuasion with them. And one of the things that I found in my research is one of the biggest resources of influence in 2024 is social media.
Social media, yeah.
Wow. Social media.
I believe it.
The 7 principles of influence are social proof, scarcity. Let me explain what social proof means. People are most likely to do what others are doing, which can make them feel secure. Scarcity. People are more likely to be persuaded when they perceive something as limited or rare. Authority. People are more likely to be persuaded by someone who is presented as an expert.
Here we go.
Reciprocity?
There you go. Boy, I suffer
Now I
with
want to
that.
hear what you was gonna say.
I don't know, because I was like, where is my mind? Reciprocity.
You know you can butcher a word.
Say free. Can butcher
I mean,
a word.
straight jinsu.
Remember which way you smile. You turned the wrong way. I'm just playing free.
Ooh, that was a suspect challenge, wasn't it? That was a suspect challenge, wasn't it? Suspect can only smile from one side.
It ain't either way for me. I ain't safe left or right. Okay, so
Oh my God. Y'all ain't warn me not today.
People feel compelled to reciprocate when someone gives them something. Number 5 is liking. People are more likely to be persuaded by someone they like.
That's good.
That's true.
That is very
Number
true.
6 is commitment and consistency. People are more likely to follow through on a larger action if they already taken a smaller action that indicates a similar belief. And the last one is unity. People want to feel like they belong to a tribe and have something in common with others. So per AIoverview.com, 60% of consumers are influenced by social media when shopping in store. 3% of consumers would consider buying a product promoted by a celebrity, compared to 60% would more so buy if they hear from an influencer. So that's why social media influencers are at the top of the game right now, because people really do care what they think. 54% of U.S. adults say they at least sometimes get news from social media, but Facebook is the most popular social media site for news, with 31% of U.S. adults regularly getting news from there. So whether it's true or not, 54% of America believe that Facebook is true. And the last thing that I want to bring out is how many people in the world are influenced by social media. This number is going to awaken you. Detailed analysis by Capillos shows that there are 5.22 billion social media users around the world at the start of October 2024, equating to 63.8% of the total global population. So what is leading power of influence right now is social media. That's why I believe that this episode is going to really, really hit home, because we have authority. And what we post, a lot of people don't realize that it's going to everybody. It is the World Wide Web.
And even if you delete it, it's not deleted.
There you go.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I think we can build from right there, because a lot of our actions, especially the millennials and on, are based on what they see on social media, which can be a positive thing and which can be a negative thing. So it's how we use it, what we do with it. So I know Pauletta gonna really hone in on that, the mental part of it, because I know that sometimes it's important to have breaks from that influence because of the power of it. It's very important. So I'm gonna leave it right there.
Wow.
Pauletta?
Oh, okay. What is it?
I mean, you didn't hear that cue.
I did. I guess I was just waiting for you. But let me tell you, it's something you said. So I'm in this
Other Pauletta gonna tell us.
I'm in this
She done got to.
Oh God. I'm in this group on Facebook for African American doctoral students.
Boom.
And so
Doctor.
Dr. P.
Shameless plug.
I mean, from Real University. Okay, so somebody in the group posted, I failed my class. That's the post. That's all that they put. And so I came up underneath and I was like, but you didn't fail the process. Keep going.
Wow.
And I thought about what I needed to hear when I was in those places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
And like over 171 people liked it. A lot of people were responding to it. But it talks to the fact that how much people really look to social media for encouragement.
Yeah.
Because she put in a group,
Yeah.
I failed my class. Like, why would you even put that on social media?
Right.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
it's a group full of people that have
same
experienced
process,
what
yeah.
she's going through. So
Right.
that would be the place to put it.
Right. And I guess my thing is, it talks about like, we don't call people anymore.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We go to these now. It's not just social media. Now there's social media groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
social media
saying?
within the
And so
social-
it's not just, okay, let me just call in and be like, man, guess what happened? You know, now I'm taking it to this community of people. I mean, which it is, because you talked about that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, how there's influence there's power of the influence in community. And so, you know, my whole thing is, you never know who's watching you.
Yeah. Now that's
You
true.
know, because of just off me saying that, like a couple of people have, you know, just hit me up, you know, just, hey, just need some encouragement or whatever like that. Because I know what it's like
That's good.
being in that place
Yeah.
of and you know, and the this particular group is first generational doctoral students. That means nobody in your family has a doctorate. Your friend, nobody in your close circle, nobody has one. So there's no one for you to talk to.
Yeah.
So you have this community. So there are some positive influencers, social media influencers.
Yeah.
You know, but then of just as much as there's some positive,
Yep.
you know, there's also negative.
Of course.
You know, and people, well, let me go to, before I go to the negative. Even if I look at Lynn, like, you know, when Sean passed, months afterward, I was like, man, you need to go and you need to go live and you need to talk about your process, because there were so many people, so many of my friends I know who had lost a husband and are just in this place. You know, and it didn't mean that, you know, that Lynn had conquered everything,
Right.
but she was walking through the process, you know,
Yeah.
and I think that's what people don't understand. Grief is a process. It's not a stopping point.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't, life doesn't end here.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about becoming a new normal. And so, you know, even based off of that, like, one friend was like, man, thank you, you know, tell Lynn, like, I really needed to hear that. But you just don't know how powerful your voice is, even the people that may not even know you, but may be connected to somebody that you share something on social media
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Now, negatively speaking, of course, it can have a negative impact because, you know, the new term now is crash out. I've been seeing that a lot of people have been talking.
What does that mean?
Crash out is just, from my understanding, from my whatever generation I'm from, you know, this is a millennial term. But when you crash out, you just wild out.
Talking.
You know what I'm saying? You just wild out, like, you know, if something happens, if something happens and, you know, like, you catch your boyfriend cheating on you, you'll go and confront the girl and you'll crash out. That's my understanding of it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I ain't never
now
heard of it.
you have, and I've gotten on this, and this, the last thing I wanted to do was to get bit by the TikTok bug. Oh God, I did not want to do that.
You done got bit
But when
by-
I tell you there's so many rabbit holes you can go down on TikTok.
Absolutely.
And like, it's a whole section of TikTok dedicated to crashing out.
Really?
Yes, like, it's the craziest thing of people just wilding out. And people, I mean, thousands upon thousands of people are liking the videos of people just wilding out. And what that's doing is that it's stamping, it's giving it a stamp of approval,
Okay.
saying that it's okay
To wild
to
out.
act a fool. You know what I'm saying? So you have to,
Consequences be doggone.
right. So forget that. But, you know, this is the generation, like, they think right now, at this moment. They don't think any minute after that.
Yeah.
They do not think about. They only think about, like, it's
How I
4:45.
feel right now.
They're not thinking about 4:46.
Yeah.
Right.
They only thinking about 4:45.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
And so because of that, they respond like this.
Yeah.
Whereas we may be like, well, you know what? If I wild out, if I crash out, I'm gonna go in jail.
Right.
Yeah.
I go to jail, I ain't gonna be able to make it. So you know what? Let me just walk away. Even though it may cost me looking like a punk or whatever, but I'm not finna be making nobody's bed in jail.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So you have, but it's the truth. I mean, at least that's what I be thinking. But you have to be aware of just how much influence you have. I went to a church a couple of months ago, and a lady came up and was just like, "Oh my God, the Her Lounge, the Her Lounge." I didn't know this lady from Adam.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, she was just talking. I was just like, okay, you know, but what if we didn't have a positive influence or impact?
So true.
You know what I'm saying?
So
And she was just like, man, y'all are so funny. It's been days I'm just sitting at my desk and I listen to y'all and y'all just so crazy, you know, but we have to be, and I'm not saying we, but people in general have to be we have to be more cognizant of the influence or the power that we have, because people are watching. People you don't even know, they're watching you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. Juna, what do you think?
I think Quissy when Quissy was speaking, she kept using one word kept coming up. Persuade.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Persuasion. Persuade. And I think that is the power that lies
Persuasion.
in influence.
Yeah.
Your ability to persuade and how you, and either way, positively or negatively, your ability to persuade. And so when we're talking about this, I think the biggest mistake that people make is that they don't understand that that's what you're actually doing. Now usually, you know, when it comes to influencers, they're usually they find a niche and they dial into it, and that's what they talk about. That's what that's what their platforms are pretty much built on. When they get to a certain level, then it'll branch out to other things. But they start with one area of focus, and so but it's also something that they love, right? It's something that they're passionate about, and I think that the ability to persuade someone to like what you like is powerful, but at the same time, it can also, if you're reckless with that power.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
If you're reckless with that power, then it can have a detrimental impact on people that you didn't realize, like in a way that you never could have fathomed. You know what I mean? And that's even with the statistics when we're talking about social media and the influence of social media and the influence that it has on society.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you have a lot of people who are depressed, who are dealing with depression, people that are dealing with even bullying on social media. So and you thinking what you're giving off is coming across one way, but how it's being received,
it's totally different.
It's totally different. And so there is an awesome responsibility that comes along with having influence, no matter how small or great. You know, even on social media, those that have millions and millions of followers, even down to the one that only has one follower. There's still responsibility there that we all need to really acknowledge. You know what I mean? Because even with what we do, you know, I love the fact that we are intentional about making sure that we're clear about what our opinions are. And you know what I mean?
Yes.
And basically saying that we're not experts, right? We're not putting our weight or our career or our knowledge, skills, and abilities and expertise behind what we're saying. This is just conversational, you know. And so leading with that, letting you know, this is opinion. This is our opinion. Now you're welcome to have your own. You know what I mean? And so that leaves the door open to them making a conscious decision as to whether or not, and it's also giving them the opportunity to make an informed decision about how they want to move based on what we're talking about and the things that we say.
I think that's perfect. And I think one of the things you said is with influence comes responsibility.
Absolutely.
It does. With influence comes responsibility. And a lot of times we seek, I can't tell you how the hundreds, it may be close to 1,000 or now amount of people that I blocked on my Instagram page. Because the more and more the page grew, the more and more toxic people and attacking me, and especially for like being a woman preacher. Yeah. You know, I can't tell you how much I've been attacked for that. Crazy. You know, and I need to shut my mouth and what I could do with my mouth other than preaching. I'm talking about very vulgar and disrespectful stuff, you know, or whatever. And but one thing that I've learned, even when I start reading something and I see that it's going left, I don't even finish it. I go on and delete it. Yeah. That's one thing that I'm learning. Even if somebody texts me something, if it's an text exchange and I see it's going left, I stop even reading. Because one thing that I had to learn, this is how powerful persuasion is. You got to make sure you don't let things get in your spirit. Yes. Absolutely. Because you will make decisions and you will form thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Based on that. Even like, you know, people who will get on the bandwagon, or if somebody else don't like somebody, you don't even know that person. But that person's feelings of that person has persuaded you to feel a certain way about somebody that you haven't even experienced before. Yeah. You know, I was preaching, it's been a couple of months ago. And afterwards, a particular person that does not know me personally, first of all, as I'm preaching, I know I can see by the Holy Ghost that the person is looking at me like, but I know what was happening. As they're looking at me, what you're doing is you're struggling with what's been said versus what you're now experiencing. I can see it by the Holy Spirit. I'm not kidding you. I can see it happening in real time. Like you looking at me and you blown away because what's been said don't look like nothing you experiencing.
Right.
So to the point afterwards you weep and make the comment of, you don't know me now.
Yeah.
You've never personally met me. Like, you may have seen me in a place, but you've never had a conversation with me, none of that. You say, you've changed.
Change?
No.
How I changed? You don't know me.
Wow.
You know nothing about me. Only thing you could possibly...
Is that what was said?
I promise you. The only thing that you could know about me is what somebody said.
Yeah.
Or what you perceived from watching me via social media.
Yeah.
You have never had a conversation with me in my life. You've never been around me. You never spent no time with me. How I changed.
Wow.
And I don't even think they realized what they were saying. But the statement was, you've changed so much. How? You don't know me. No, what has happened is you have formed an opinion based on the people around you.
There you go.
And what has happened is you formed it without ever personally experiencing me for yourself.
Yeah.
So even us who carry influence, because every single person has influence.
Yeah.
How many people you influence may be a difference.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Your scope of influence, your blend, your depth may be different. But everybody influences somebody.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
Right? Everybody influence somebody. And you are responsible with what you do with that influence.
Absolutely.
You are responsible for how you steward that influence. You understand what I'm saying? You're responsible. Even all this stuff we're hearing about, all the celebrities, that it's like 2024 was like the year of the exposure. I said that it would be.
wow.
Okay? It's the year of exposure. And you're exposed really and truly because of the irresponsibility of your influence.
Yeah. And you're handling. You're right.
Because really and truly, and not to be churchy, but God is not in the business of exposing people.
Come on. Come on.
Exposure comes when grace lifts.
Yep.
Because one thing about God, he will constantly tell you, fix that. You don't do that. Work on that. Hey, leave that man alone.
Right.
Hey, leave that man alone.
Right.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
Leave
Won't he do it?
Leave that woman alone to a man.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Get from around that person that's not your friend.
Yeah.
How many times he'll tell us?
Over and over.
We only get hurt when we don't listen the first time. God has to cause us to be hurt, because sometimes hurt is the only thing that makes us change our direction.
Wow.
So a lot of times, a lot of friendships he have to tear. They have to be ripped. Because if you would be honest, how many times he told you? How many times he's giving you an inkling? That ain't your person. But you override it because you don't want to hurt people, and you don't want to be mean, and you don't want people to think you this or you that, and you override what God is showing you, what you're seeing, what you experience. Sometimes it ain't even spiritual, just with your natural eye. You can see this ain't where I need to be. This ain't nobody. Let's just stop right there before we go to break. Let's just go and be honest. There's a lot of relationships that we've been in, whether it's romantic or friendship or business or whatever, that we didn't even need the Holy Spirit to tell us that we didn't need to be
Leave
in.
it alone. Right.
Absolutely.
Just natural common sense. My old pastor used to say, common sense ain't so common.
It
Ain't
ain't.
so common.
All right? And
it
it's
from
true.
me.
It is. It's just the truth. But I don't care. It's not just about you being a leader. I don't care who you are.
Right.
You are influencing somebody. There is somebody that values your opinion. There is somebody that values your validation. There is somebody that values what you think and what you say. And as leaders, we need to be careful that we don't make our opinion doctrine.
Right.
Just because that ain't my opinion, Just because that's my opinion, that ain't Bible.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
That ain't
I'm
word.
talking about, it don't say it nowhere in the
That's
Bible.
just my opinion.
Right.
This is what you
And
grew up
we
on.
have to be very,
Wearing white on
very,
first Sunday.
very, very careful as leaders
Okay, I'm sorry.
that we don't ostracize a group of people
Yeah.
based off of our opinion that we formed into doctrine.
Yep.
Because there's a set of people over here that's unchurched. They unchurched, but they very fertile ground.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And if you so deep, you ain't touchable, reachable, flexible. I ain't talking about trying to be like the world. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. Because I'm telling you what I know to be true. Young people will be drawn to you with no compromise. Because Andrea don't compromise. Now I'm funny. And I'm probably easygoing, probably to talk to and be around. And I don't judge people. I think that's what really draw people. I love people.
Yeah.
In your mess and whatever. You know, I would love you. You know, but if we don't learn how to perfect the love of God as leaders, we're going to always be irresponsible with our influence.
I think the ability to understand the power of influence is the characteristic that separates mediocre leaders from great leaders.
Woo.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If all I'm doing is, and if I don't make the adjustments, right? If I don't make the necessary adjustments based on my understanding of my influence. Now I'll say this. Now there's this preacher that I don't really listen to too much, but when it was something happened in his church and he was in the media for it, and he made a decision in the moment, and in the moment it hurt one of his members.
I know who you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
In the moment it hurt one of his members. And initially it was like a lot of backlash from it. But it wasn't until, and the backlash wasn't what changed his position.
Because at first he stood on his position.
He stood on it.
I know exactly what you're talking
He
about.
stood on it. But what changed him was when he saw the impact of what he did
to that person.
To that person, and how it affected the person, how it hurt the person. And even in the righteous indignation that was initially there was broken because he was able to see.
That's emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Which no one should be leading without.
No matter how right I may have thought I was in the moment.
I'm a fisher of men.
If my rightness doesn't resonate the way it needs to resonate, then I need to modify it. And if I did it public,
the apology gotta be public.
Here, I got to fix it publicly. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, you don't really listen, but that made me see
them in a different light.
In a different light.
Yeah.
It made me see them in a different light. And I can be honest enough to say that, to see that, because I didn't initially see that. You know what I mean? But to see that shift and to see him understand how influential
you are
and the impact.
Yeah.
Even in your righteousness, right?
And you may have been right in what you done.
Right.
But your method may have been wrong. You understand?
And you got to go fix it.
And how stellar it is that you fixed it.
That you fixed it.
Like, I don't think we understand that when you are a leader, or especially like this person you talk about is a pastor, you are a fisher of men.
Yeah.
You fishing all the time.
Yes.
You got to watch what you say because you a fisherman. You got to watch what you do because you a fisherman. You got to watch who you condemn. You got to watch who you ostracize because you a fisherman.
Yep.
And I think that's what we missing. You're fishing. You fishing when you ain't got no rod.
Right.
And no bait.
And no bait.
You're fishing.
Yep.
And sometimes we miss our opportunities to fish caught up in things that don't even matter to God.
Yes.
Or caught up in what we think is.
And I'm
important.
saying my thing is getting to a place as a leader. I'm talking about me personally. Lord, let what matters to you matter to me.
Yeah.
Because I think a whole lot of stuff we make matter
Don't matter.
don't even really matter to him.
So much.
I don't. I really feel that way. Like it don't. We put matter on stuff that he ain't even got no
nothing to
matter
do
on.
with
You know what I
Majoring
mean?
in the minor.
First thing.
Majoring in the minor.
Yep. First thing
So
first.
true.
Just love. Just
Love.
Yes.
Work out that love walk.
Yes.
With loving kindness
Yes.
have I what?
I drawn.
Drawn them.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. But you know what? I was sitting here thinking, I think some people don't even realize the power they have because of internal struggle.
Yes. They
Talk
are
about
not.
that
They
for
are
later.
not self-aware.
They're not aware that you have influence.
That's it.
Because I'm going to tell you, the comparison game is one of the most dangerous games you can ever
And I
play.
think that social media really heightens that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Really
and I
heightens
think
that.
people feel like, I don't have
Ain't
any
nobody paying
influence.
no
Ain't nobody
attention.
listening to me. Ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying? But you have to function as if somebody, even if it's that one, even if it's that
You
one
still
person,
responsible for the
I'm
one.
still responsible for the one. Like, I'm glad my pastor's my fan on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, half of the stuff I want to post, I don't. No. And it be funny stuff. No, I'm talking about you be like, but
The
because,
accountability. Right.
and I'm going to tell you that makes you aware of the level of influence you have.
I wish other people felt that way.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Right.
Like I really wish they I'm finna probably stop accepting friend
I
requests
don't blame you.
from partners.
I don't blame you.
Because some of the stuff I see some people post, I be wanting to ring them up. But I know they can't take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they can't take me correcting them at that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just snooze them or unfollow them.
My job keep me.
You know what I'm
my
saying?
job,
Because
my
to keep me
accountability part, I ain't losing my job.
from getting you
Right.
on a
Let me
consistent
just-
basis,
yeah.
let me just unfollow you
Yeah.
and let me just get away.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot of people I have to take a break from.
Oh, yes.
I have to take a break from certain people, like all the time,
I get
Yes.
it. I
who
get
just so self-absorbed. And one thing I cannot stand, and that's my biggest pet peeve, is somebody that's so into themselves.
Woo.
I
the
cannot
time.
stand it.
I
Like you just, I mean,
unfriended
you
someone.
drunk
I was
with
like,
yourself,
Unfriend.
and you ain't got nobody around you
Yeah.
And you can tell.
that will tell you,
Oh, God.
sit down somewhere.
Because
You understand what I'm
people
saying?
be up under your post and you be so erroneous in the things you saying. And they'll be like, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna. And I'm like, nobody around you. It's like, first of all,
That's because everybody
wrong.
around you needs you. You always need to have people around you that don't need you.
That's so. Woo.
Because when they don't need you, they free to be truthful.
There
Right.
you go. There you go.
right,
Okay?
right.
There you go. And
They
that's
free to be
that's
truthful.
That's why that self-awareness is not as common as it should be. And this age of social media is dangerous
It is very dangerous.
because so many people who should have not the level of influence that
They
have.
should.
They should not have that type of influence. And these children are making decisions
Based off of.
based on the foolishness of these decisions. And even when you said that sometimes we don't understand our influence, even if it's just your child,
Right.
that's influence.
Yeah.
Even if it's just your child, that is influence, and you are responsible. I remember talking to somebody.
That's
and
huge,
somebody,
actually.
Huge.
somebody passed away based on some of the decisions that they made, and some of the pain that they felt when that person died was because I introduced them to some of that stuff when they were young, you know? And I don't think, because I can be very, because I've heard Lynn say it before, that sometimes Chris will say, you just don't know your level of influence. And sometimes I can be like that because I'd be like, because one of the first things I did when I got married was I didn't want to hyphenate my name. I didn't want nobody to mess up and call me Saint. You know, I wanted to be totally in spate. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I ain't hyphenate nothing because I don't even want people, some of the people I dealt with before, I don't even want them to be able to find me. You know what I'm saying?
That's number one.
That's number one. I want to start fresh.
Hide me.
I want to start new.
In the
But
secret
I
place.
didn't realize that even with that change that I thought was huge, that people were still aware of who I was. And who my, you know what I'm saying, my family was. But I tried to hide in that, and that comes back to the lack of self-awareness that you don't know that you have this kind of influence, and these people are hurting because of decisions that you think are not affecting anybody because you have low self-esteem. You know, because you can't see that there are people who are depending on your encouragement. Dang, you know, did y'all hear the word
I
she
just
said?
said book. That's all I said is book.
But
I didn't say your book. I just said book.
Right
But
then
it's a
you
cat
said
on the
your-
she
line.
just trying to get me back.
Right then you said
for
your
what I
book.
said
What's on the line?
It's a cat on the meow.
When I
I
tell
was
you,
really trying to
you just
dig.
told your age when you said that. Because I don't think I've ever met a person under 70 that said, there's a cat on the line. I don't think I've ever met anyone
You just told.
under 70 that said,
Yeah.
there is a cat on the line.
Oh my God.
Do you think has the weight of your influence ever been too much for you to bear? Like, have you ever been on a place where you like, don't follow me? Like the people.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, me and Chris this morning, he was laughing because he was talking about yesterday, you know, when we at Thanksgiving, how, you know, I started this tradition maybe about 2 years ago of saying before we eat, everybody says what they're thankful for, right? See, I love stuff like that. And so, of course, when everybody started talking, he leans over to Paula and said, look at Mama, she love this. She love this mess. She love this deep talking and all this stuff like this. Mama gets on my nerves with this. But I didn't care, you know, because I know he always going to try to talk about me. So, you know, this morning we were talking about how he had leaned over. And so he was laying on the sofa when I had put the tree up and I was I got up early and started putting the tree up and stuff. So I had music, you know, gospel music playing. So he come downstairs. He said, you acted just like an old Southern mother. Got these gospel music playing and putting up a tree and decorating. He said, woo. So, you know, I just started laughing. But we ended up sitting and talking, you know, and I asked him something and he covered his head. He was like, Mama, I don't be wanting to have these deep conversations and these talks. I said, no, this stuff is good for you. I said, what area of your life right now needs your undivided attention?
Wow.
That was my question to him. I said, what area of your life? And I said, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying it. I said, while I was decorating the tree, I heard the Lord say something to me about two things. And he was like, Lynn, if you conquer these two things, you'll be unstoppable. And he's been telling me that for a long time. All right. And so I mentioned the two things to him. And I was just like, so what in your life is areas that need your undivided, meaning that you ain't got no time to be talking to nobody else about what they need to be doing, because you got some spaces in your life that needs your undivided attention. You know, and he was telling me what those spaces was, even though he didn't want to be in the conversation. This is influence. See how I didn't pull him in? And he started having and talking about the areas and, you know, and different things like that. But even in small things like that, we don't realize, you know what I'm saying, the weight. Because even if your influence, like Juna said, is just your child, that child becomes an adult who influences other people. Yep. Even while that child is a child, that child influences other children. Yeah. So even though you may think the scope of your influence is one person, you're also responsible for every person that person influences as a result of your influence on them.
And who they influence.
So it becomes a perpetual thing. Even like we were talking last night, Thanksgiving, and we all got into this big heated discussion about
Affection.
affection and not growing up in affectionate households. You know, we got into this. It was a little heated only because, you know, sometimes we as parents struggle with hearing our children tell their side of the story.
Yeah.
Because we think we have the
different
power.
from our version.
We think we have the power to give them a perspective, and we don't. You know what I'm saying? And as a parent, we've got to learn to stop trying. When our children begin to say how they feel, stop trying to tell them how they feel.
Yeah.
Or stop trying to tell them how they should feel, and listen to what they're saying, even if what they're saying hurts you. That's not easy. But it's something you really need to learn, because you don't get to tell somebody what they experienced. You don't. It could be 4 people in the same household with 4 different experiences.
Right.
And I can't look at June and say, that's a lie. That's a lie. I can't do that. I can, but I'm wrong.
Right.
Because that's her interpretation of what she has experienced. And I don't have no right to write that story because I never lived it. I never lived from her perspective.
But I think I think that when we're talking about, I keep sitting back. I think I'm a little bit too comfortable. But anyway, I think when you're talking about the weight of influence being too much to bear, I think that's a great example of the relationship between parent and children, and how a parent can, 4 people can have totally different experiences and
Living in the same house.
And I think what makes it hard to bear is when you hear that what you intended is not how it came across. And it's not to speak to say that you were actually wrong.
Right.
But that's what we're hearing, right? That's what we're hearing. When someone says, this was my experience of you, it's not to say that that was your intent, but this is how it affected me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it gets to be unbearable when it comes across, or when it's interpreted as an attack versus an observation. Like, let's talk about it. This is what my experience of you was, right? And that's where I think that's where it gets hard to really acknowledge what I intended did not come across the way I intended it.
Right.
What I gave out, because nobody.
And sometimes you can think you giving out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that ain't even what you.
And that's not even what you giving out. And so when it's brought to your attention that that wasn't my experience. Now you were a good mother, you were a good father.
That doesn't take away.
It doesn't take away from that. But
that's not what I hear.
Exactly.
Because I already struggle.
Right.
There's some places in me
that
feel like I'm not a good mother.
Yep.
Right.
And so when that place is ding,
you triggered
then it's a trigger.
It's a trigger.
And that's not what I was saying.
Right.
What I was saying was A, B, C, D. But because something in you has been triggered,
Yeah.
you heard
Or
F,
because
G,
you
H, I.
question yourself in that area.
Right. You've come to the table questioning yourself. And so when you didn't hear anything else. All you
That's how
heard
you
was
You're
that
a bad
trigger.
mother.
You're a bad mother.
And so the too much to bear is, and so the too much to bear is directly associated with my triggers.
Right.
That's what makes it unbearable.
Which is why you need to know your triggers. But see, if you are not emotionally aware,
There you go.
and you're not going to know what your triggers are. You know, like I know, when I tell y'all, and I know this ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about, but when my mom first came down here, I thought, no, I'm going to tell you this. I thought I was healed. I thought that little girl was a grown woman. But when my mother came last year, I was 6 years old out here functioning, paying mortgage and the water bill.
No, for real.
6 years old. No. And so I think it had to be, but
Sometimes suppression looks like healing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what else. What else helped it? The fact that she was in
That's
New York,
tweetable, Facebookable,
and I was in
Instagrammable.
Alabama. That was another
There you
thing
go.
that
Yeah,
that
you
gave me a
separate.
false sense
Proximity.
of healing. Proximity. You understand what I'm saying? But now when you in my space, I'm like, oh, God, like, oh no, we finna deal with this. All that, God, show me those parts of myself. Okay, I'm finna show you.
I'm finna show you.
I'm finna show you. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna show me like that. Like you could have just told me. I ain't had to live through it. But ain't that but now,
That's
you
good.
know, I'm back in this situation. And I'm different. Nothing has changed with her.
Yeah.
But
you
I'm
are
different.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
good.
now
Your
it's not
approach is
easy.
different.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Now, it's not easy. But I'm more intentional.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That I'm not going to let this drag me to a place.
Right. You know
That
what
I'm
I'm
gonna
saying?
have to be fighting my way out of.
Right. And so
No, for real.
when she be like pew 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 pew, you know, I be like straight Wonder Woman. Remember she used to have them bangles?
I think I was born with Wonder Woman.
Yes, baby. I was the Wonder Woman girl. Linda Carter. What? And she go in between them cars
Come
and
on.
spin.
Okay, come on.
It come out.
Come on.
Then she was fine.
Okay. So you
No, I
got to
wanted
know
to be
your
her.
triggers.
You have to know, and then I want to kind of emphasize on the too much to bear part. This is why I want to have time to talk to PKs, because sometimes the power of the influence of something that they didn't agree to, right? Because this is their parents calling, you know, and they're like, "This is not what I agreed to. This is my parents' call." So it can make you mad at God instead of being mad at what you've dealt with people, and it causes you to cut off the God that is your everything
Wow.
versus having a relationship with him. So that's why I want to talk to them, because I think there should be a class at the beginning of becoming a PK and say, it's okay.
PK 101.
It's okay. Just breathe. You got this. So that's why I want to talk to him.
I
because
remember
it's
when
too
Chris
much.
was 3-4 years old at children's ministry at church and got in trouble. And the teacher said to him, "And you pastor, and you a minister's son?" And he was like 3 or 4. I guarantee you, when I picked him up, she probably would never said that no more.
To nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I'm talking about to the TV, and they couldn't hear her through it.
I'm talking about you.
Because
my son.
what you're not going to do
That's it.
is perpetuate perfectionism on my son.
that you can't even live up to.
That you can't even live.
Right.
Especially at 3 or 4.
Right.
And he sure know what bad then. So I'm like, no ma'am.
Don't
And why
do
would
that.
you even say that to him?
Right.
As to like he can't make mistakes or can't
Like
have a bad day because of who his parent is. God's
Baby.
your father. Look how many bad days you have.
And this is one of them.
And this is one of them.
Right.
But you bet the right one.
Right. I was like,
Baby.
lady, don't do that. I had to pull her aside. Like, don't do that. I'm not even finna let you start that.
Right.
And plant
Because he
that
don't live in
seed.
the shadow of anybody.
There you go.
Nobody. Okay? All right. We didn't get to take a break because our conversation got so
Layered.
layered. But I believe that it was very good for you guys. So, Juna, do what you do. What's our question of the week?
What steps have you taken to ensure that you are soberly handling the power of your
What
influence?
does soberly handling it means?
It means that you are functioning and handling it in a way that is responsible. You are responsible in your handling of your influence. And so there are steps that you would need to take to ensure that. And that's keeping, like we was talking about before, about keeping, what steps are you taking? That's the question.
Well, you all know we can continue the conversation after the conversation on all of our social media platforms. Follow us at the Her Lounge Podcast or Her Lounge Podcast, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. We'll see you next Thursday.